Hey everybody, and welcome to Chiefs Week. So many eyes on this matchup. Of course, it's Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes. This is going to be the fourth time these teams have met in the last 2 years, so they know each other, but they're also very different than they were when they met back in October earlier in the year. The Bills, they cruised to victory in that game, but the Chiefs have gotten better. You could say the Bills have too, but a different matchup. So Joe, as you get your initial thoughts on this, what stands out about this particular matchup on the Bills side that could potentially benefit them?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, the way that Josh Allen is playing right now, I think that's where you have to start. And he had a good game the last time around, too. These two teams played. But certainly over the last 5 games or so, the offense has really taken a step forward. And then, you know, the offensive line, I think, is going to be tested in this one by the Chiefs' defensive line. They're going to have Chris Jones, which they didn't have in the last matchup. And he's an impact interior defensive lineman. They've got Melvin Ingram, who they acquired midseason from the Steelers, who has been a nice benefit to them. But the way that they've been playing, you know, we'll be able to see how good they are against what should be a better defensive line than what they've seen. And then also, you know, the speed they have on the defensive side of the things. They, you know, when we see how well Tremaine Edmunds and Matt Milano move against a team that isn't overly physical, it usually stands to benefit the Bills. So I think if those two guys can continue their positive campaigns the way that they have, and, you know, Tremaine Edmunds continues to do what he did against the Chiefs last time, which in coverage, which was one of the biggest reasons I think they won that game the way that they did, then the Bills could be in good shape here.
Murph, one of the things that we hear so many times when we're talking to players and coaches, they always say, we're not focusing on the opponent, we're focusing on ourselves. And I feel like this week there's some truth to that, even though it is very cliche. Do you buy into that? Do you believe that this week?
Yeah, to a certain extent. You know, John Wooden, the great basketball coach, used to say that all the time. He wrote about it, how we're practicing to get ourselves better. Who are we playing? Okay, we'll get better and play them. But I think football's a little bit different because you do have to match up. I think the Bills are familiar with the Chiefs, obviously. They've had a lot of back and forth with Kansas City the last couple of weeks. I mean, the Bills spent last offseason kind of getting ready to play Kansas City, drafting pass rushers in the first couple of rounds. And the thing that is not a mismatch is the speed. Now, Joe was talking about Buffalo's team speed. I was blown away last Sunday, watching Kansas City's overall team speed. But that's not a mismatch, as Joe points out, for the Bills. The Bills are a very fast team. And I think you pointed out earlier on, too, Matt, that, you know, the Bills, when they've struggled, have struggled against physical teams, you know, maybe getting overpowered by some physical teams. Look, Kansas City's good, but I don't think they can overpower the Buffalo Bills.
Is there a player in particular, and I think Josh Allen should be taken off the table here because we'd all say fair. Josh Allen. Is there a player in particular who could really swing this matchup, who could really change this for the Bills?
I'm going to go with Stefon Diggs. You know, he's a big-time playmaker. He's made big plays all season long. I think the Chiefs will be hard-pressed to hang with him. I don't think the Kansas City secondary is anything special. I'm going to go with Stefon Diggs. I think he could be a difference maker.
I do think when the lights shine the brightest, Stefon Diggs is usually there to step up. Murph, how about you? Or excuse me, Joe, how about you? Anybody in particular who you think could really play an impact in this game?
Well, for a good reason, I'll go with Ed Oliver, just because he was kind of muted in the last game because Mac Jones was getting the ball out a bit quicker, and Mahomes likes to hang on to it. I think he'll have more opportunities. From a negative reason, Dane Jackson is someone I've got my eye on for this because, you know, he is susceptible to some double moves, and if the Chiefs are able to get him to bite the way that he has in some previous games that you can see on film, then they might be able to actually pop the Bills for a big gain down the sideline that they haven't been able to do in quite some time. But then there's always Micah Hyde there waiting, as we saw against New England. So those are two guys that I'll have my eye on.
And I was talking to this about with Murph earlier in the week, but the one thing that Bills fans should latch onto is this is the team the Bills roster was designed to beat. We have heard Brandon Beane, Sean McDermott say time and time again, like, that's the measuring stick in the AFC. We know that's the team they need to beat, and every move they made in the offseason was about beating the Chiefs. So I guess now we're going to find out if they did enough to pass that test. Only time will tell.